Can dieting make us gain weight? Can our thoughts? How connected are the mind and body? Let's talk eating and psychology. Hey, welcome to the series. I'm Alicia and I'm so glad you're here. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. We've still got a couple of days left in this course, so if you want all the additional materials on top of the video, make sure you sign up for the emails. You get the entire back catalog of all the downloads and all the goods at mindovermunch.com/food-freedom. Okay, in this entire series, we have talked a lot about the mind-body connection. We've talked about inner and outer wisdom. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch all those videos first. But what I really want to get at in this series is that we've got to heal from the inside out. We have to recognize that emotional, mental, and physical health are all connected. Remember that triangle. We talked about stress as a connector of the mind body and the new field of science that's emerging, psychoneuroimmunology, which studies the connection between the brain and the immune system. And when I was doing research in grad school, I came across some studies learning about how our mind and our perception of food can actually affect our choices, not only about how much we eat, but also maybe how we metabolize the food.
Say what?
So I have got 3 studies that I want to tell you about today. The first 2 are about dieting and dysregulation. If you don't remember what dysregulation is, go back and watch that video. The first study is all about
upside down traffic cones.
pudding. So there are 2 puddings. One is a high calorie pudding, one is a low calorie pudding. There's a group of people given the high calorie pudding. Half of them are told it's high, half of them are told it's low, even though it's high. In the group that's given the low calorie pudding, half of them are told it's high and half of them are told it's low, even though it's low, okay? So pretty much in both groups, half are being told it's high and low, even though only one group is eating the high and one group is eating the low. Okay, so they specifically looked at dieters, which were tagged as, people who restricted food and tried to lose weight, and non-dieters. Remember, we talked about earlier in the series, dieting is a form of dysregulation where we tune out and we turn off the feedback loops. So in the study, the dieters who thought that the pudding, who were told the pudding was high calorie, they ate 61% more than the dieters who thought it was low in calories, okay? It didn't matter if it actually was or not, it was just what they thought. So this is an example of that pendulum. With dieting, when we restrict, it makes us physiologically and mentally hungry, and that's gonna lead to binging. People who diet, and I know I felt this for years, the all or nothing mentality. If it's there in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna say screw it, and it's a terrible cycle. This study is mentioned in the intuitive eating book, and I talked about intuitive eating yesterday. Okay, the second and third studies So the second and third studies involve milkshakes, okay? So women were given 1, 2, or 0 milkshakes, okay? Now, once completed, they were asked to taste test and rate 3 different So they were asked to taste test 3 different flavors of ice cream after eating 1, 2, or 0 milkshakes, okay? And they were told that they could taste test the ice cream in private, so that way they could eat as much as they wanted. Now, again, the non-dieters regulated their eating naturally. So they adjusted the amount of ice cream that they ate in private during the taste test based on how many milkshakes they had already had, okay? So if they had taste tested, 2 milkshakes, they ate less ice cream. If they didn't taste test any milkshakes, they had more ice cream. With the dieters, it had the opposite effect. So those who drank 2 milkshakes that were dieters also ate the most ice cream, okay? So restriction from dieting, the point of this, the restriction from dieting leads to the I've blown it effect. Okay, that's what they really call it in the research. So when we feel we've ruined our diet, we spring from one extreme of limitation, of restriction, to the binge. This is the yo-yoing, and our bodies really don't fare well with it. This does not make a great case for dieting. When I found this stuff out, I had to really consider, was dieting working for me, or was I in this cycle, over and over, never really able to escape? Does that mean that I think dieting is bad? I mean, it depends. I am gonna talk about this later in the week. Again, I think dieting can be a tool, but is it a tool that really works? Okay, so one more study. The most fascinating of all, and it's also about milkshakes. Okay, this study was actually called Mind Over Milkshakes on the published paper, and when I found it, I was so giddy. So this study was done at Yale University with Peter Salovey, and he is one of the pioneer researchers of emotional intelligence, which we talked a lot about earlier in the series. So the study measured whether physiological satiation, so if we were actually, satisfied in our body, was affected by mindset regarding food consumption. So let me explain this study to you. So people consumed a milkshake it was actually in real life 380 calories. But people were told it was either indulgent and that it was 620 calories, or they were told it was sensible and it was 140 calories. Okay, so remember, this was the actual amount of calories, but they were told it was either high or low. And it's actually not accurate to draw a milkshake like this, because in the real study, they have it was almost like a Slim Fast shake or something, in the packages that you can buy at the store. So it had a real nutrition label with the calories. It was very deceiving. So what they did is they took people, they gave them the shakes, told them, either you have an indulgent shake or a sensible shake. They measured their ghrelin levels, which is a hunger hormone. And it's an indicator of energy insufficiency. Essentially, it stimulates your appetite. So when the stomach is empty, ghrelin is secreted to let you know, I'm hungry. And when nutrients are then detected, once you eat, the brain signals to reduce the appetite because now you've eaten and you don't feel as hungry. So here's what the study showed. The mindset of indulgence produced a dramatically steeper decline in ghrelin after consuming the shake. The mindset of the sensible shake produced a relatively flat ghrelin response. Essentially, that's quoted from the article, but essentially, satiety for the individuals was consistent with what they believed they were consuming, not the nutritional value. What does this mean? Our thoughts what we think we're consuming can impact not only our eating behavior, so how much we eat, right? Like the puddings thing where they ate 61% more, but also our physiology, okay? So this means it could affect how we metabolize the food. The implications here are huge. Can our thoughts affect our metabolism or our weight? If there's a chance that the way we think about food affects how we metabolize it, and we know stress affects how we hold on to visceral fat and retain nutrients. We know that stress hormones affect our physiology. We really need to learn more about this. Now, this is what I actually realized once I started coming across all of this research. It really means all this focus on outer wisdom, on nutrition, in some ways is
a waste of time.
Now, I am a fan of science and I'm a fan of outer wisdom, and I believe the strongest case we have to make peace with food is using both with the foundation of inner wisdom. The truth is, right now, we don't know as much about nutrition as we think we know. Most studies looking at specific diets have not even been around for a full lifetime. I mean, think about it. How can we know the long-term effects? We can't. That doesn't mean don't listen to science, but it means listen in a discerning way, where you determine what resonates. And it means getting caught up in the details of macronutrients and even, micronutrients and calories can add stress, which we know adding stress doesn't do anything good. And at the same time, we have no idea really how our thoughts are affecting our nutrition, which is totally possible because of the mind-body connection. Now, I'm gonna talk about how much nutrition really matters for weight loss later this week, but the point here is the mind and body are connected, and this is one thing I'm going to continue to kind of preach on the channel. I'm not preachy, I want you to decide for you, but if you don't think the mind and body are connected, you're not gonna hear anything I'm saying here because it's what I believe. Okay, so share in the comments, what do you think about the mind-body connection conviction? What do you believe? What have you seen for yourself? What are you skeptical about? If you think anyone would find this video interesting, please share it with them. And remember, I'm gonna actually link these studies in the materials in the course email for today. Okay, that's it for now. I'll be back tomorrow with more, but just remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch, but really mind over milkshakes.